With the release of a brand new game in Honkai Star Rail, it can be pretty tempting to spend resources immediately. One of the most important resources, if not the most important, will be Stellar Jade, because with it, you'll be able to pull for brand new characters and light cones, which are essentially weapons for you Genshin folks. And since Star Rail is a gacha game, there are banners that can be pretty tempting to spend Stellar Jades on. However, there is a right and wrong way to pull on these banners. Hey, what is going on guys? It's Jonathan and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. I say another, but it's actually our first official video. Most of you guys probably know me for Genshin Impact, but with the release of Star Rail, I had to do a first impressions on the game, like how we did for Tower of Fantasy. So technically, our first Star Rail video is the first impressions, but there are a lot of footage to go through, so that'll take me some time to edit. But in today's video, let's talk about Stellar Jade and how you should spend them when it comes to the current and future banners, especially if you're free to play, and in some cases, even dolphin status. Now, if you're like a massive whale, then this probably won't affect you as much since money speaks for itself. And since I'm going F2P for Star Rail, I wanted to share my approach when it comes to spending Stellar Jade, coming from someone that's played a couple gacha games before. Now, without any further ado, let's jump right into it. First, let's go into the warp and see what banners are currently live. Starting off, we can see that there's a starter warp for new players, which will have a beautiful 20% off for every 10 pulls, or what in-game calls it, warps. Additionally, you also guaranteed a 5-star character on the 50th pull for one of these 7 characters here. This banner is actually super insane, because if we take a peek at the regular warp, pity for a 5-star character is on the 90th pull, so in addition to getting 20% off with the starter warp, we save a total of 50 Star Rail passes, which are used to pull on both banners. It's a really generous banner indeed. You guys know what starter banner we got in Genshin? Just us, a guaranteed Noelle on the 20th pull, who is a 4-star character. Where's my 5-star character deal? Don't forget the 20% off though. It goes without saying that the starter banner is really enticing and will probably tempt a lot of players to pull, which they should, but in a responsible way. Throughout your trailblazing journey, you'll encounter a lot of character event warps and light cone event warps, and unlike the standard warp, which is in-game permanently, these banners are a limited time and will feature a specific character / light cone. The first limited character banner we received is for Zila, which will then rotate to Jing Yuan's banner next, and the same applies for light cones as well. The passes used for limited banners though are different and will instead use Star Rail special passes. If we visit the shop and check out the Stellar Trade, we can see that both passes cost the same amount of Stellar Jade. This is really important because the value for the special passes skyrocket, and because of this, I would not recommend spending any Stellar Jade on the regular passes. If you're not familiar with how the pity system works in Star Rail, then I'm gonna explain it here for any new folks. For the most part, the standard banner and limited time banners function very similarly, with the exception that the standard banner includes both 5-star characters and light cones, and does not contain and will not contain limited time characters or limited time light cones. This is confirmed and can be viewed under any limited banners detail, where it mentions that among the above characters, the limited character will not be available in the Stellar Warp event, which is the standard banner. Just throwing it out there, but rates will of course be different depending on what banner you're pulling on, and the 5-star pity can vary as well. For limited time characters, there's essentially something called a 50-50, where you have a 50% chance to get the promotional character that's featured when you receive a 5-star. This is where it gets really important, because in the scenario that you failed the 50-50, which means you didn't get the promotional character, you'll receive one of the 7 characters here. Do these names ring a bell? They should, because they are the exact same characters on the starter banner and standard banner. This is something I like to call the standard pool, because there's a pool of characters that can be received when failing the 50-50 or pulling on the standard banner for the same price. Players should generally save all their Stellar Jades for Star Rail special passes because of this exact reason. The less Stellar Jades you spend on regular passes, the better, because you risk the chance of getting duplicates when pulling on the starter warp and standard warp. While duplicates are nice skins to be converted to Eidolons to boost up your characters. There are also times where enemies will not have a weakness towards the type of your built up characters, so heavily investing in one character might not be optimal for all situations, unless you can one-shot everything. Now, I'm not telling players they shouldn't pull on the starter or standard banner, because if you have star rail passes that you'll accumulate over time, then by all means you should spend them if you wish to. The game is also really generous and gives you basically enough to hit the 5-star on the starter banner as well, just by progressing through the game. No, I'm merely suggesting that you shouldn't spend Stellar Jade on star rail passes, because there are many things in the standard pool that you can receive, whether it's a character or a light cone. While it's tempting to just pull immediately on the starter banner because it's so enticing, you'll naturally get enough star rail passes without spending Stellar Jade, and eventually, just by pulling on limited time banners, you'll probably get everything in the standard pool anyway. Over time, of course. In the early days when I was starting my adventure across Teyvat in Genshin Impact, admittedly, there were times where I spent some of my Primo Gems on Acquaint Fates, which are basically Stellar Jade and star rail passes, to push for that next 5-star. However, after playing for nearly 2 years and a half of the game's release, I basically have all the standard characters already, and even a couple constellations as well. Spending on the standard banner could be beneficial at the early stages, especially if you don't own many 5-stars, whether it's Genshin or Star Rail, but in the later ones, it could be less impactful, so something to keep in mind. If I could go back and take back my Primo Gems spent on those Acquaint Fates, honestly, I would, because I'm not really in dire need of constellations as much as I would prefer getting new characters. Having new characters or even weapons would just open your team to have more options, because there might be times where characters you overly invest in might not even be suited for certain situations. By investing more towards limited banners, you'll have more 5-star options. Hey, Johnny, why do you have 197 Acquaint Fates that aren't used? Are you crazy? I have my own reasons on Amaldi for saving these up, and it's for the exact same reason as I just mentioned previously. In Genshin, characters are occasionally added to the standard pool, and since I already own most of the standard characters, I'm waiting until more are added before I spend these to lower my chances of getting duplicates and potentially new characters. I suspect the same will hold true for Star Rail as well, and you can believe that I'll be saving up my Star Rail passes because I know there'll be times where I'll be failing the 50-50 and receive a couple of standard characters naturally. Again, there's nothing wrong with getting duplicates for Eidolons because maybe you want to spice up some of your favorite characters, but if you're gonna spend, just keep in mind that it's really out of your control on what you receive. There were also times in Genshin where a character in the standard pool receives their own banner that uses Intertwined Fates, which is equivalent to Star Rail special passes. Given the similarities in terms of how the banners operate for both Genshin and Star Rail, it's possible that this could happen too. Personally, I would stay away from these banners if they do appear, but if you're trying to get Eidolons for a specific character that is featured, then might as well spend it there since promotional characters are guaranteed on the second pity. Playing a gacha game takes time and patience when it comes to banners, so just save up your Stellar Jade for things that are more guaranteed on what you're trying to build. Anyway, that's my tip on how I would spend my Stellar Jade when it comes to the current and future banners. Basically, everything into limited banners. With Star Rail, I'm gonna approach the game as a F2P player, so spending resources wisely is gonna be very important. Hope you guys are enjoying your trailblazing adventures because I'm having a blast and actually made 2 F2P accounts. Why do I do this to myself? I'm gonna be pulling on the starter warp very soon on both accounts, and we'll make a pull video on that, so stay tuned if you guys are interested. And for my Genshin audience, Baiju is coming very soon, so I'll be pulling for him as well. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to also turn on that notification bell so you don't miss on any newly released videos. I've been Johnny D, and until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one.